Welcome to our webinar. Thanks for taking the time. We know you have busy schedules and we really appreciate it. And on that note, we're just going to dive into the topic. So today, rather than the more laser focused sector investigations, we're going to take on a much wider and a much more varied topic. And to get under the bonnet a little bit today, we're going to consider the why digitalise, add connectivity and deploy IoT devices. What can I do and what will I get, and how to do it? Pretty straightforward. And so the why. Well, we all need to get better. Responsibility to the planet, customers and employees means more than ever our businesses need to be better, or we will get overtaken, or we definitely won't reach our goals. And today we're going to look at how you go dumb to smart. So, making things more intelligent with examples of services, ideas and processes. How to add value using connectivity and digitalization. How you can add valuable new or extra services to what you're doing. The productization of services or technology and why it might help your business. Digitalization and why, of course, how analog tasks are better automated and communications can be improved, etc. And of course, the power of unification. So by using real unification of services, devices, protocols, systems, what does it bring to my services or business? So moving on from the why, what do we need and what might it look like? Digitalization and connectivity are really the power to solve problems, knit together solutions easier, and meet any future needs. Think about our personal digital journey, how we use connectivity and technology, and now think how much bigger it could be to improve our businesses or our employees' lives in our businesses. But let's start by looking at a solution. A perfect example of how productized IoT can innovate and totally revamp a mature service by going analog to digital. Take the humble rubbish bin across the country, an age-old, simple service that's hardly changed for what seems like forever. The routes and the calendars, usually set ages ago, probably almost impossible to really review in an analog world. The bins are either overflowing and causing further waste issues, or the other alternatives you're constantly emptying empty bins or half full bins. Both are total waste, pardon the pun. It's a waste of time and it's a waste of resource. That doesn't even take into account seasonality or events that may prompt an extra service, but you have really almost no visibility in reality. So enter the productized IoT solution. Using recent lower cost technology, the bin is elevated from a truly dumb solution to one that is now intelligent, one that can really disrupt a market groaning under the weight of growing pains and costs. So using what are now considered quite simple and low-cost electronic elements such as a solar panel, sensor and communication hardware. These are the Lego blocks. And then some software. The real data drives real change. You get insights that can also continue to drive down costs and deliver ways to improve the service forever. You get a true win. And that can be replicated across any sector or service. And probably, if you think about it with your own business challenges, in this instance, we take a compactor and a sensor. We can actually see how much rubbish is in the bin. When the bin gets up to a level, we can compact that so that we know that we've got more, more use for that bin. We can take more rubbish, and between servicing that bin, we can actually go longer. So at every point we're really winning on this one. And if we look at the performance data, I mean, it's amazing. Up to 75% savings, 5 times more capacity, the infinite insights into the waste behavior, the seasonality, how much we need to empty bins and why. And for context, the local authorities in England spent £173 million more than planned in 2021 on waste collection and disposal, which is an eye-watering number. And in a nutshell, a true win-win that can be replicated. We're reducing annual CO2 emissions by at least 40,000 tonnes if everybody replicates this service, and taking over 7,500 cars off the road, it's the equivalent of. But let's take a look at another service. This came from a recent gym chain install that we did some work for. We were looking at how can lighting technology build into a full end-to-end solution rather than just a single silo. Could we operate PaaS or paddleball as a service? And it would be just that, an end-to-end solution that would incorporate the QR code to access the AssetBook app, a booking system showing free times, book the time you want to play now or into the future, make a payment without leaving the platform, use automations to unlock the court. We could count the people to ensure a party is not on the agenda, or even just to compile data for the business to analyze to see if it's twos or fours that want to play the game more often. We can ensure there's no antisocial behavior by installing noise sensors if it was in a rural area, for instance. We can add a speaker, a klaxon, a strobe light to provide info or warn of the end of the session. Or if anyone enters without a booking, for instance, say they climbed the fence, we could actually use a system to let them know that they're in there as an unauthorized user. And all of this could be easily created, but what else could you add? What other services? Well, you could add rental of paddle balls or using lockers, using smart technology. You could add vision cameras to record the games to sell to the users. You could advertise other gym services or benefits via screens that they're only operational when sessions begin or end. It really could be a powerful and unified service. And on a similar theme, as the AssetBook building blocks of that are somewhat similar, EV charging. For many businesses, the solution is to pay someone to install a charge point outside their building, literally a dumb asset. But this is just the beginning of what could be an important service to deliver, and one that has been offering less flexibility for users than is ideal. So we at AssetBook, we love a challenge, so we've created a perfect solution for everyone, a more unified and expansive solution than is available from others, and all within the AssetBook platform, a true end-to-end solution. You get the full end-to-end EV solution. You can operate as a landlord, freeholder, or management company, and you can monetize the system while still delivering value. A full end-to-end payment solution, never leaving the safety and security of the platform. You can use fobs per user, per vehicle or account. You can allocate codes for charging sessions, or you can offer, say, a free vend on Sundays, for instance. The full control of the system is yours. You can have multiple tariffs, one for staff, another for visitors, and maybe another one again for the general public. We can load balance dynamically or logically for any number of chargers. You can visualize them as assets for the users. So that they can see if the chargers are in use, if they're not in use, if they're out of use. You can even push the information to Google if you like, so that the public can see them. We can automate servicing of out of use chargers. So if there's a fault, we can automate a message to go straight out to the service partners to make sure that they get put back into service as soon as possible, rather than waiting for someone to let us know. And of course, you can choose from a huge range of hardware across all types, sizes of charger. We have every single eventuality covered as standard. And of course, where the chargers are located can really vary. So sometimes they're on the external wall of the building, which would be easily within Wi-Fi range, but sometimes they're right across the other side of the car park, and this might be better for communication via cellular or similar. So whatever you need, we already have that covered. And of course, you could add other services and value. We could add vision cameras. We could add contactless entry. We could have cameras that read the number plate of the car and then allow a contactless charge because it knows who that car is. And of course, multi-stakeholder reporting means residents or users can see their use or costs on their own dashboard, and they can have different authority levels across the board. I think most importantly, operators can get a helicopter view of the service and the costs versus revenue, etc. And you could even use AssetBook to collect and manage any tenant payments, say in an MDU, for instance. So this is what EV charging would look like when true digitalization and connectivity are at the forefront. And on the same topic, a multi-story car park digitalized. Smart barrier control using number plate AI recognition. Intelligent lighting, something like, say, Kazambi, something like a mesh lighting. Intelligent lighting that saves money always during periods of low or zero occupancy, turning lights off, not wasting energy. As we talked about, the clever EV charging, a full end-to-end system. You could have digital assets showing free spaces, chargers, checking all of the assets for functionality. These types of solutions are much simpler and much more cost effective than you think when you're working with a unified system. So a takeaway for today, turbocharging is easier than you think. You really just have to use a unified software. You can start anywhere as you're future-proof from the beginning. And like Lego, you can go one block at a time and add value as you go. But what other elements might you like to add? You could add indoor air quality, an important metric for many buildings. Water leak detection, an important early warning, and it can even be coupled to smart stop valves. So you could have a totally automated system. Or you can use our, remote Legionella monitoring system, which is super clever and really easy to deploy. Vape sensing, a growing need in the healthcare and education sectors. We can use that, we can apply vision with it. We can really start to help and try to educate on this subject. You could add other sensors, any other sensor really, but how about pressure, humidity, and other environmental parameters? Flood sensors, if there's a river near you, water quality sensors, any kind of sensor you can really think of. And we can even bring in other virtual assets, like in this instance, the BBC Weather app or similar. So we could use that data and that future data alongside today's data and all the data that we're collecting. So you can really see and begin to think about what my own business like to implement and why. So let's move on to the how. And let's look at digitalization and connectivity, because really this is where the magic happens. AssetBook believes in an open Internet of Things, where deployment and management is simplified. Stakeholders retain full control of their data, and the power of the IoT is put in the hands of the users. As an IoT platform, AssetBook offers an end-to-end solution, providing networking, where we connect to the physical layer and we manage all the communications. Data processing, where the data is normalized so we can really start to work with it and automate it. And the user interface, interacting with that data and creating so-called smart functions and processes. It really is a one-stop shop with all the tools you need to manage your own IoT journey. Because AssetBook believes unification is the key to discovering true value of the Internet of Things for everyone, allowing everyone to adopt as much or as little as they want in any combination for any task. And you can do all this with minimal training requirements, removing the fragmentation that's holding back mass adoption. In this instance, there's no need to build a new solution from scratch every time. You just deploy and you just continue to deploy. And the more deployments you do, the more value you get. And there's no need to commit to full digitalization out of the blocks either, because AssetBook is a modular system. You can go at your own pace with the knowledge that all your deployments are future-proofed and you're only paying for the elements that you use. So an example pictorial with some use cases for, say, a building or an office, a retirement home. They probably already have Wi-Fi inherently in place. So we could use those access points to undertake, say, energy monitoring, the people counting, and any vision systems such as CCTV. For lighting, we could use LoRaWAN for street lighting, Bluetooth for all the standard indoor lighting, and maybe Bluetooth or Zigbee for emergency lighting, for instance, so the full remote monitoring emergency lighting. So if we look at these, street lighting is a wider area solution, so not always ideal for a mesh type topology, whereas indoor lighting, for instance, is usually so pervasive, it's perfect to use a mesh system. And for EV charging, for instance, as said before, we can use a 5G or similar cellular service for a simple, robust comms infrastructure, because then we know that wherever the chargers are located, the network and communications is pretty simple and straightforward. For other items, say asset tracking and similar, ladders for FMs, we could use LoRa, a great low power, wider area network, great for tracking objects and knowing where things are within an estate. So you could begin to see that the likelihood is there's going to be a need for multiple protocols to really make the most of best-in-class devices or the best-in-class use cases. Some might mesh, some might need wider area networking, some might need more data or bandwidth. Yeah, others might send a very small packet of data just twice per day. So it's important to have a strategy, but I think the flexibility is probably just as important as any strategy. And of course, the best solutions incorporate the best devices and the best methodology. So in AssetBook, we incorporate all of them and we have it all ready to go. So you can save money, you can deploy quicker, and you can build a more powerful system. And again, they communicate with each other. They're not in silos. They can trigger or automate each other, regardless of the protocol or networking. We can see them all in one pane of glass view. We can report on them all. We can lay the reports of each device, no matter what it is, across each device to really see how they interact and how our buildings actually exist and the ecosystem that we've created. So digitalization and unification of everything brings better value, more insights, and endless solutions. And to finish off today, one from me, one quick do and one quick don't in terms of how you decide to build your digital strategy. Do build a unified but totally agnostic system, one like AssetBook, as it will give you freedom and power. And as you can see from this pictorial, it's using multiple protocols to really get the best from devices and communication methods. And the don't build this. A system of separate silos, a BMS that does or doesn't do parts of the integration, a set of separate solutions, another solution for asset tracking, a dashboard for the beginnings of ESG that can't go any further. None of them collaborate or work together. And then there's subscriptions or proprietary hurdles to jump in terms of hardware and software. So to finish, AssetBook is how you do all of what you saw today and much, much more in a single multi-protocol agnostic system. So it really allows you to build value today and future-proof your business for tomorrow.